All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Super Bowl. Oh, wrong show. Not Super Bowl Sunday. Wrong show. Don't want to be yelling in your ears. How are you guys? Welcome to Environmental Coffee House, and we have movie night. I edited something that's an interview, and I thought, you know what? Instead of me reading all this, I would play you the interview and remark it up. And I wrote to the person, and I would like to, have him as a guest. But it kind of supports what we were talking about the other night, which was, a bit of criticism of a science process in a climate emergency. So, yeah, it's great to see you. Hi, Kevin. Stanhoser and CJ, hi. Kim, thank you for moderating. Old Sage Joe, hi. Zalipa, Singing Way, David Lutz. Yeah, it's kind of a It's not really. Wait till, because you'll see the movie. Hello, Melanie. It's great to see everyone, and I'll be back after the movie because it's a long one. It's really, I wasn't even going to be in the show actually, but I want you guys to listen closely because this is in support of the show we did Friday night, which somebody really pissed me off. And I shouldn't be thin-skinned, but when you call me, you say I'm in a cult, fuck you, right? Okay. Anyway, so we're gonna pretty well go for this. I want you guys to enjoy, and I will be back afterwards. And this is definitely not Super Bowl. And hi, Heidi. I am so sorry. Heidi's with us, and I want to just say I'm terribly sorry for the loss of your mom, sweetheart. Okay, here we go. I will be back.
It's a pleasure to be with you. In his forward to our report on scientific reticence, which was just mentioned, What Lies Beneath, Professor Hans-Joachim Schellenhuber wrote, and I quote, "When the issue is the very survival of our civilization, conventional means of analysis may be useless." I'll just repeat that. Conventional means of analysis may be useless, unquote. So it's from this perspective that I'll make some comments on climate risk markets and the state. And I guess my essential point is that when risks are existential, markets fail because they cannot adequately deal with such risks. They cannot mitigate the threat to society as a whole. This is true for weapons of mass destruction, it's true for pandemics, and it's true for ecological collapse, where the primary risk management responsibility lies with the state. It's also true for climate disruption, where markets have failed to heed the high-end risks, especially non-linear impacts and tipping points, which are difficult, if not impossible, to model when the costs may be infinite. When damages are beyond calculation, that is, when the damages are infinite, which is what we were facing, then cost-benefit analysis, conventional risk analysis, and learning from failure are approaches which do not work. Let me give some examples. The current Paris Agreement commitments, if achieved, would likely result in a warming of 3 to 5 degrees by 2100. 3 degrees of warming is described in the literature as catastrophic, and 4 degrees is likely to be incompatible with the maintenance of human civilization. And yet, despite this evidence, the market response has been to grow emissions year on year. 3 to 5 degrees is clearly an existential threat to human civilization. That is a permanent and drastic curtailing of modern society's future development and perhaps even its existence. This prospect of existential risk requires a fundamentally different approach to risk management than the one that is currently being taken, including by policymakers internationally. It means in the first instance, emphasising the lower probability, high impact, or what are called the fat tail risks, which may be devastating for human society. Secondly, applying the precautionary principle when faced with uncertain threats that may cause systematic ruin. Third, taking a normative approach to setting targets and strategy. And fourth, integrating responses across national and regional boundaries. In my analysis, neither the IPCC processes nor those of the UNFCCC make this approach. They focus on the middle of the road risks rather than the high-end possibilities. This is a fatal mistake. Let me give you one example. Climate policymakers regularly accept as reasonable a 33 to 50% risk of failure. We hear it all the time, a carbon budget, 50 to 67% chance of success, when that failure represents a planetary level systems disruption. I think this is ethically indefensible. I mean, none of us here would accept a 1% risk of failure if we were to fly in a commercial aeroplane. Yet policymakers regularly accept risks of 1/3 to 1/2. The IPCC assessments bear a large responsibility for underplaying the risk with their preference for conservative projections and scholarly reticence. Let me now turn from risk to the physical realities. Schellenhuber reminds us, and I quote, "Political reality must be grounded in physical reality or it's completely useless." So let me just start with 4 understandings of the physical reality. The first is that warming has already reached 1.2 degrees and is accelerating, with 1.5 likely within a decade, certainly by 2030. The illusion of a carbon budget for keeping warming below 1.5 degrees or an incremental path for holding below 2 degrees are now fully exposed. Number 2, at just the current warming of 1.2 degrees, climate disruption is already dangerous. We have already passed tipping points for large-scale systems, including coral reefs, the Arctic sea ice, and the West Antarctic glaciers. There is debate at the moment about whether the Amazon rainforest is also close to its tipping point, and strong evidence that around 1.5 degrees, the Greenland ice sheet will already reach its tipping point. To reiterate, at 1.2 degrees, climate change is already dangerous. Number 3, around 2030, when warming will be approaching or hitting 1.5 degrees, there will likely be blue water Arctic summers as the sea ice extent collapses. This risk will grow substantially, that Arctic carbon stores, including permafrost and boreal forests, will suffer substantial, accelerating and unstoppable losses a decade from now. And number 4, in the physical reality, in 2018, scientists, including some of your colleagues in Germany, proposed a hothouse Earth scenario, the most downloaded paper in the history of climate research. Their scenario was one in which system feedbacks and their interaction drive Earth's climate to what they called a point of no return, whereby further warming would become self-sustaining, that is, without further human emissions. This threshold, they said, could exist at a temperature rise as low as 2 degrees, even little lower. In a follow-up paper in 2019, they said, and I will quote because I think this really summarises the physical position, "The evidence from tipping points alone suggests we are in a state of planetary emergency." This is the authors of the paper. "Both the risk and urgency of the situation are acute." They go on, "If damaging tipping cascades can occur and a global tipping point cannot be ruled out, then this is an existential threat to civilization. No amount of economic cost-benefit analysis is going to help us. We might have already lost control of where that tipping happens," unquote. So that, I think, is unfortunately the physical reality. Actions. From this scientific analysis, I think there are four conclusions. The first is that even if the carbon budgets of the IPCC, which are far too generous, are accepted as on face value, national carbon budgets for developed economies like ours, the highest in the world with the United States, with high per capita emissions, those carbon budgets require annual decarbonisation rates of around 10% or more annually, once global equity issues are accounted for. For Australia, that is zero emissions by 2030 or before. In the developed economies, advocacy of the currently fashionable net zero by 2050 is simply climate colonialism, implicitly claiming a right by the rich for higher ongoing per capita emissions than people in the developing world. A 2050 timeframe will not prevent catastrophic outcomes, and such long-term targets have become an excuse for procrastination. Second action. The former UK Chief Scientist, Professor Sir David King, who has established the Cambridge Centre for Climate Repair, says we have reached a point where we can no longer simply say if we reduce emissions, we will be fine. Mitigation is vital, but, and this is a crucial and not well understood recent research finding, mitigation is vital, but it will not have a noticeable beneficial effect on the temperature trajectory for 2 decades due to the concurrent aerosol loss. That is, for the next 2 decades, reducing emissions will not slow the rate of warming. King, like James Hansen and many others, emphasises the need to get the atmospheric concentration of greenhouse gases down from the present level of 415 parts per million to well under 350 and ideally under 325 parts per million, with a large-scale carbon drawdown program to restore a safe climate. The Cambridge Centre says that this drawdown will need to begin within the next 5 years and reach 30 to 40 billion tonnes of carbon dioxide equivalent annually, which is an amount similar to current greenhouse emissions. I mean, it is an understatement to say this is a massive and challenging, almost unbelievable task. Thirdly, planetary cooling must now be on the agenda. Scientists fear, privately in conversations with me and others, that the Arctic dynamics, even this decade, may create the conditions for a hothouse Earth scenario. By 2030, conditions in the Arctic will have an unacceptable risk of triggering self-sustaining feedbacks and potentially humanity's descent into existential crisis. Regional cooling of the Arctic is now crucial to mitigating the hothouse Earth risk. Sir David King says, and I quote, "We need to determine how to restore damaged climate systems and the most effective strategy for refreezing the poles and the Himalayas. This too must begin as soon as possible," unquote. To summarise, zero emissions, even in a decade, coupled with large-scale drawdown, is not sufficient to negate the existential risk. There is no evidence yet that proposals such as solar radiation management, for example, have a net environmental or social effect. But if that proves to be the case, it may be considered a necessary measure. Fourthly, adaptation, that is managing the unavoidable risks and impacts, should be seen as a parallel strategy to mitigation and should prioritise actions to protect the most vulnerable human populations and nature. But adaptation is no substitute for the deep mitigation and restoration necessary. And there is a danger, we are seeing it in Australia here, of the adaptation trap, where most effort is put into adaptation and the lack of mitigation delivers a hothouse Earth scenario. Number 4, mobilisation. So next section, mobilisation. These tasks of reaching zero emissions as fast as possible, combined with large-scale carbon drawdown from the atmosphere, are enormous undertakings given the compressed timescale available. They both involve the disruptive stranding of fossil fuel assets and the remaking of much of our productive capacity and infrastructure. It would be the greatest planned peacetime transformation of the economy in history. The generalised collapse of contemporary societies is not certain or inevitable, but it is likely unless dramatic action makes climate the #1 priority of economics and politics. I repeat, the #1 priority of economics and politics with an audacious planned transformation. In other words, what we have called a climate emergency response. As Benno noted in a 2008 book with Philip Sutton, we described a normal political paralysis mode in which there is a lack of urgency, market needs dominate political responses, budgetary allocations are restrained, and socio-economic goals are determined by political trade-offs, compromise, and systemic inertia. And I think that describes policy making today. By contrast, we described an emergency response as one in which an immediate or looming threat to life, health, property, or the environment is recognised, the threat is recognised. The speed of response is crucial, with the risk of the threat becoming overwhelming, what we have just seen with COVID. The crisis is of the highest priority for the duration, and bipartisanship and effective leadership are generally the norm. And finally, all available resources are devoted to the emergency. Societies that are successfully overcoming the COVID pandemic threat, I am very fortunate to live in one in my own country, are doing so with an explicitly emergency response that makes the threat, COVID, the highest priority of politics and economics based upon acceptance of the best available science. A whole lot of contemporary political beliefs have been overturned in order to face COVID. In an emergency like COVID, the leading role in mobilising society is taken by the state. The more successful COVID emergency responses have included the early exercise of hard state power to curtail non-essential production and movement as necessary. In my country, whether it's bushfires or floods which regularly threaten people and property, we do not put out attendance to the market. The state responds to natural emergencies immediately because it is best positioned to prepare, to plan, and to act. This is also necessary for the climate emergency because markets can neither adequately assess the risks nor mitigate the threat due to the issues including infinite damages and non-linearities in the system. A recent IMF working paper notes, and I quote, "A growing agreement between economists and scientists that the risk of catastrophic and irreversible disaster is rising, implying potentially infinite costs of unmitigated climate change, including in the extreme human extinction," unquote. So that's an IMF paper. Let me say again, when damages are beyond calculation, cost-benefit analysis and conventional risk analysis break down. Climate is not a market optimization problem. It is a risk problem, the risk of the loss of capitalism, according to the US financial analyst Spencer Glendon. To repeat, it is not a risk problem, it is the risk of the loss of capitalism. Glendon also notes, and I quote, "The economics of climate change will be seen as one of the worst mistakes humans have ever made," unquote, overlooking consequences including mass migration and state breakdown, which are beyond models and market calculations. The climate problem won't be solved by capital markets. Markets require system stability, but we are now in an era of system-level instability in the finance sector, in the physical world, and in politics. We now face large-scale climate disruption, either by way of a planned fast emergency transition or, much worse, unplanned chaos because non-linear physical change and socio-economic system failure will inevitably occur as warming intensifies. In summary, gradualist solutions that assume that time is on our side are not relevant. The problem is exacerbated by the failure so far to decouple resource use from consumption, as well as carbon pollution from production. Business has consistently blocked the required state-level intervention and leadership. Inflamed by the fuel of financialisation, which triggered the 2008 global financial crisis, the lack of action on planetary limits, including climate, will destabilise financial markets, economic systems, and global security. At this point, the state, which is capable of delivering fast, disruptive change, will be forced to respond to systemic exceedance of planetary limits and market failure, take emergency action, redirect current economic behaviour to socially useful ends, and scale back production. And governments do have that power. We have seen it in the last year. Yanis Varoufakis says one lesson from the 2020 pandemic response is, and I quote Yanis, governments have been choosing not to exercise their enormous powers so that those whom globalisation have enriched could exercise their own, unquote. And I think that's very true. Lastly, the challenges. In the current low growth period, decarbonisation and decoupling costs cannot be absorbed by growth, but only by reallocation. Add in equity issues within and between nations, and the lack of a credible scenario to provide 9 billion people with reasonable living standards means there is no choice but to reduce the excessive consumption of the richest 20% or more of the global population. Just as proposals focused on Green New Deals and market-driven growth fail to deal with systemic market failure on climate risks and resource depletion, so also enhanced social expenditure will also fail if state leadership does not provide a path out of the climate and ecological crisis via emergency policies. Degrowth is necessary in the absence of absolute decoupling, but the degrowth movement has yet to produce even a basic strategy on how its objectives can be translated into institutional structures at state or global level. This situation is unprecedented. Emergency level action will become inevitable given the lack of action to date, but will it be democratic? Reducing the hyperconsumption of the world's most affluent sector seems like an unimaginable political obstacle. People do not take lightly to deep change, even when it is necessary to protect the things they care about. My colleague in Melbourne, Boris Frankel, the sociologist, asks whether preventing ecological and civilizational collapse is more important than democracy. He's just published a book on it called Sustainability versus Democracy. This is particularly a question, especially as the conflicted state is wedged between the need to transition to a sustainable economy operating within safe planetary boundaries and business and community opposition to the actions that are required. Clearly, public education and mass public mobilisation are a key to pressuring state institutions. Movements such as Extinction Rebellion, however, will fail if proposed citizens' assemblies become mere talking shops devoid of any clear and urgent proposals to the state. Lastly, business so far has failed to take the challenge seriously enough. Neoliberalism has served business well, and strong state intervention is an anathema. But capitalist dynamics are incapable of responding appropriately given the failures of markets to deal with the high-end risks. Change would require in business long-term interests and the common good being placed above short-term interests that presently dominate the market, and there are few signs of that happening. Most of the global capitalist elite, by their actions, indicate that they think they can survive well enough despite disabling climate impacts. And I referred here to the work of Bruno Latour, who says that most of the ruling class recognises that in a hotter world, there will not be enough Earth for everyone, hence they have given up on a common purpose for humanity. He says artificial and automation in their world will replace the shrinking global population with elaborate plans for self-protection, such as escape to New Zealand, hideaway as Plan B, or heading for Mars as Plan C, led by Musk, Branson and Bezos. Latour says that three critical features of our times are climate denial and delay, deregulation and growing inequality. These features have helped create a super rich caste who are determined that a sort of gilded fortress in Latour's terms, must be built for that small percentage who would be able to make it through in a hotter world. Now that fortress, that gilded fortress, is pure fantasy. First, it grossly underestimates the physical impacts of climate change, the aridification, the unlivable heat, the sea level rises, and so on. Techno-optimism has blinded elites to this problem. Secondly, it underestimates the social consequences. At just 3 degrees of warming, for example, perhaps 1 billion people will be displaced globally and coastal cities inundated, contributing to political mayhem and what US security analysts describe as likely outright global chaos. Thirdly, in such circumstances, the global market and financial systems, which are already fragile and destabilized, will collapse. And with it, the illusion of a gilded fortress will crumble. Finally, if this scenario is to change, the ruling elites, more or less as they exist now, must be part of the transformation, given the imperatives for dramatic action on a short, decadal 1 to 2 decade time frame. What, if anything, could bring them to their senses? How can the vehement opposition to state leadership on sustainability and a common future purpose for humanity be broken? Can a sustained mobilisation of people who cherish this earth and yearn for a future for humanity overcome this resistance? On these questions hang the future of human civilization. And thanks very much.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. And I've got one guest in the green room, but before I bring her in, and thank you for all the comments, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Whether or not you 100% agreed or not, that's the point is of the voices out there. There are a lot of voices out there, and we should all be listening to them and taking the good ideas and using them to further for whatever you feel you need to further that with. Okay, so what I want to do is show you the let me get this going here. Okay, let's show you just a little bit about him. All right, and we're going to get started with his David Spratt's. This is his Twitter page. You can find him there if you're interested. And he wrote a book called Climate Code Red. Let me see. I don't know. Can you see me? I kind of moved over a little bit. All right. Anyway, it's not about me. It's about Climate Code Red. That was a book. And here was the article that, there's the article that I was going to read, but I thought, it's so much better. I really enjoyed bringing him to you. And as I said in the chat, he has a fantastic interview with Nick Breeze, if you want to go see that one. And then I would like to bring him on to our show. I like his voice, and he's not what people could want to say that, doomer adjacent, whatever, with the stupid labels that we are so over, and that, you can't critique science. You can't critique the systems that are getting us to where we are. That is bullshit. So they wrote, he has all these books. There's a lot of books on the website you can learn about them and their publications, lots of publications. And it's all, again, it's up to you. It's up to you. They have a lot of contributors. And David is in here. There was another person, Paul Gilding, that I read a good article on, which I'm not bringing on. So if Lisa would like to come in and we will have a short chat, I will bring in the guest screen and see who comes in. Lisa, I'm going to assign you to be guest number 1. And there she is. There is the lovely Miss Lisa. Can everybody hear Lisa? Lisa, talk. All right, Lisa, you are not muted here. So let's see if you're muted anywhere else. I don't think you are. I don't think you are. Uh, we can try you again. I have you not muted. So is there a mute button somewhere that you're missing in there? Can someone else join us? Why doesn't somebody else join us and we can try to uh, get Lisa's voice and say, hi, Lisa. Oh, wait a minute.
Hello?
Hello, Lisa. Hello,
Hello?
Lisa. You found it.
Yeah,
And now I'm
it
going to
takes
give
me a
you.
few minutes.
It's okay. We have all the time in the world, don't we, guys? Oh, there's no climate crisis. There's nothing going on. I'm going to move you over a little. It's fun. I'm going to move you over. We have room for guest 3. We have room for guest 2 if they want to join. But I guess I'll move me over closer to you and we can have a conversation. So, how you doing, Lisa? I don't have your name up in the box, but oh well.
I'm doing good. I have the chat box open too, but I muted it, so I hope
Cool.
everything's not like double volume or anything.
No, it seems great. So what's going on, Lisa? Tell us what's happening in your life and how did you respond to the vid that I made?
I only caught the maybe 20 minutes of it. So
Only 20 minutes of it. Okay, well, did you watch Friday night's show? That was what I was. We were kind of solidifying. I was that there are other voices that support critiquing the IPCC or any of the science community because that's what in the United States that's what free speech is about, and that's not dangerous free speech. Absolutely not.
no, I didn't catch Friday nights. I've got that puppy, and it got really, really big, and it's still growing. And he's
I see
like,
the pictures on definitely on YouTube.
and he's
Yeah.
80 pounds. So I shipped him off with Ken because Ken lives with his mom half the time.
Right.
And he's too big for me to control. And he's like a little asshole. He's sweet, but he has his own trickster personality. And he's a dog
Hang
that's a
on
little.
a second. Everybody's saying my video doesn't match the audio. Well, there's a lag. Mindy said that. There's a lag. I can hear Sandy, you have the wrong video up on the screen. What video do I not have on the screen? I see Lisa on my YouTube. On my YouTube. All right. Well, everything seems okay. Question authority. Oh boy. Hi, Devon. Devon lives not far from where the bomb train was, and that's pretty messed up. All right.
Yeah,
So continue on, Lisa. I'm sorry. Mindy, I hope come back out and come back in.
yeah, I was just going on about my dogs, our obsession. I'm making food for them with meat, even though we're vegetarians. I was trying to get around it, but apparently they need that bone and all that stuff. But and then Buster, the bully, he's 8 years old. He's behind me. He's facing the other way. He had to have 5 teeth pulled. We thought he was dying because he was refusing food because his teeth hurt. So, because we adopted him at 6 years old, and who knows what they did with his mouth? Obviously didn't take care of it. So it's been a little crazy cooking for me, Ken, 2 dogs, organic, and now meat, which I was fighting for. Oh God, no, not meat. So that's all that's in my world. I just got back from a dog walk, trying to pretend that that the world is this little patch of woods that we walk. It's really only about 10 maybe 10 acres. I don't even know. But you'll get to a highway, you can hear them all around. You can't
OG
get.
Skywatch, pets are contributing to climate change. Yes, but we save pets that are discarded and cast away. So
My
everything.
our bully, we adopted him at 6 years old, and he's a lovely dog. And we adopted him, so he could live a life. And then the other one, the puppy, he was at the SPCA too, and we adopted him to give him a life. He was already alive.
Look at this. According to a 2017 study, feeding dogs and cats creates the equivalent of 64 million tons of carbon dioxide in the US each year. That's roughly the same impact. Yes, I would believe it because human beings can't control anything. They can't control themselves. They can't control the pet population. They cannot control anything. All right. Well,
Well,
hey, Mindy's fixed. Yay, Mindy.
can I add one more thing though?
Absolutely. Add one more thing.
To take like the vegetables like squash and yams that I get from the Amish and make their food with that. So I'm doing it as efficiently as possible, I think, rather than buying dog food, bags of dog food. Who knows what's in that stuff?
Right? Well, yeah, it's a tough call. I have the 6 cats. So
Yeah.
anyway, let's see what's going on in our chat. Does anybody else want to join? I put the link. I'm pretty sure the link is at the top of the chat. It is good to see you guys. I mean we're on and off topic. Does anybody have topic they want to join? I mean, Gazer, they don't need heads on spikes, but their demise will happen as people revolt as the gap widens between the non-rich and the rich. Oh, we see it happening. I mean, we're watching it happening. We could just go on Soft White Underbelly and see that. Oh my gosh, that channel. Hey, Nina, why don't you come on? Nice to find environmentalists and humanists. Thanks for walking and talking our shared message. You're welcome. Oh, Lisa. What else? Give us your deepest thoughts on, let's see. Oh, the wolf genocide in Norway. There's a genocide of everything
Yeah.
everywhere.
Everything's dying. I mean, I just personally,
Come on in.
I can't live it every night and day. I've got to, involve myself with the dogs. And right now, the puppy tore up the side yard, so I'm making a rock garden. I mean, I'm just living my life. I'm going to start some paintings on the pets,
Oh,
and
that's good.
I just can't. I can't live collapsed because when it happens, it does. But I'm not going to live in fear of the future.
Is ECH a cult? Well, I don't live in fear of anything but my rotten ass spine and and the things that hurt. But fear, if I lived in fear, I'd be afraid all the time because there's a lot to be afraid of. And that's why we're dealing with it. That's why I try to deal with it with a community, of people we can talk with. So, yeah. Oh, thank you, Wanda.
Sandy, I find that when I think about it too much, I can't sleep, and that's not healthy. A person that can't sleep,
Well,
I'm
that's
sick.
why it's not a cult. That's why we don't want to say all of this stuff is an obsession. I mean, it is a lived, shared experience. We are human beings on a planet that is being decimated, but I don't live it every minute either.
Right.
How about you guys? Who else wants to join us? Come on in. I've got room. I've got room. Um,
Puppy.
is your puppy coming on? Do you have your puppy near you? Lisa, is your puppy coming on?
He's like way asleep right there,
Okay. All
and
right.
he's the other dog. My puppy's with Ken tonight.
Yes, you said that. You said that. So what's going on, guys, out there? I think everybody is, oh, it's not a cult. Well, then I'm out of here. You're out of here? No, please don't. Please don't.
Sandy, that's what Friday happened, right? I mean, I just kind of
No,
walked
Friday
in.
was a good show. It was a comment that I got from somebody who I think I know who it is that changes their name and insulted the author of the article that I read, which I thought the article had very good pieces and critiques about things. And they actually it wasn't even the cold part so much. It was the part of that it almost seemed like they were so insulted that the article questioned science, like it was going the other way to make a science denialism, which it completely was not science denialism. Sometimes what it was is veering a little bit away from the actual scientific method of peer reviewing, because we're in a climate crisis, we're in an emergency, and things to bring out and to do in that emergency, but the political will isn't there. We know that.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Right.
Right. It's a double-edged sword. Not a double-edged sword, that's a stupid saying, but it's just what leader is going to run for to lead the people, who is going to say, okay, everybody give up your cars and
Yeah.
dig a garden, because you're going to need it. And even it's ridiculous. And what Biden does with this drilling shit drives me crazy as a Democrat. It what needs to happen. I mean, we need our homes to be fueled for now, and on the other hand, it's killing the planet. So what do you do? I like this degrowth option that's been spoken about, but who's going to do it? I know a lot of kids aren't having kids, which is great, but this degrowth, I mean, I don't know. I'd really like to see that.
Well, here's the big cat. One of the problems is everyone says we need to do more. In reality, we have to do less flights, less meat, less driving, less stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, somebody else is here to join us. I am who is there? Let me assign this person to be guest number 3 and unlock that overlay. See, it's all new. And they gave us the ability to actually have 10 guests now. Okay, fix your camera. Is that you, Joe? Is
Yes,
that Joe?
that
Hi,
is me.
Joe. Oh, welcome, Joe. Now we
How
got to
are
get
you?
good. This is awesome. Welcome to Joe. Joe, you're going to tell us who you are. You're going to tell us all about you once we get to see more than half your face. Can we see
Oh
more
God, I
than?
don't want to do that. That would ruin everybody's
No,
day.
we don't want to ruin. You're not
Where's the
ruining
camera?
anybody's day. There you go. Now look at that. You look a whole lot better, sort of what I can see than what you do in your
There we go.
picture. Men always, let me tell you, girls, men take pictures of themselves on the internet, and they always look terrible. Either they do it where you're looking right up their nose to all the nose hair. Now look at you, Joe. You look 100 times better here. So welcome, Joe. All right,
Thank
what's
you.
going on? What's
And
going
yes
on?
to everything you just said.
I know you have very
Ah,
important information.
boy.
You do.
Well, mostly, I just wanted to see if I could do this without being stupid and be able to work the camera and everything. So thank you.
Hey, it's great to see you. I can actually even I can make you brighter. Like, let's say I can make you brighter. I can saturate your color. I can actually make you look like you're on one of those UFOs that they're shooting down, or I cannot. I can gamma you up and down. Look at you. Looks great. Oh, I'm having fun. I did the same thing. Yep. Okay, so talk. What would you like to tell everybody in the crowd? Because it's really
Can you
good to
make
have
me
you.
taller?
Can I make you taller? I actually could. Watch. I could. I could
Oh,
make you
it's
tall.
yeah.
Look, I made you tall. Yes, I'm Alice. I can do anything at all. Okay, now you
Oh,
are tall.
oh, one pill.
All right.
What do
So,
you want to talk about?
well, I want to hear what. No, this
What
is
would
for
you
you.
like me to talk about?
Okay, I would like you to talk about yourself and your and physics. A little bit about physics. You are the physics guy, right? Oh no, please don't tell me we
I
lost you.
am a physics person, yes.
Okay.
I am
So,
addicted to physics.
and addicted to physics, and you also understand, our predicament, and you have sent me quite a bit of material that I read, but I am not the best person um to probably put it into terms that, well, you could. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your overviewing theory?
Well, the the way I fell into this, and I did not intend to be a climate person, I'm aware of climate and I've always been a minimalist because of it. But like you or anyone else, I believed most of the stuff that people tell you about what to do about it. Recycle, reduce, reuse, try
Yep.
to find clean energy. I
Yep.
went into physics literally because of a Star Trek type dream, the episode where they visit the floating city where the troglodytes do all the mining underneath, that seemed like an accurate representation of society. And I thought if we could do anti gravity, we could do fusion and cities, not affect the natural system so much. So my got funneled into condensed matter in physics. They kind of discover whoever you are and put you where you will do the best. And condensed matter opened my eyes to the overt problem, except it did open my eyes to where money for those kinds of projects comes from and how your knowledge that you're learning and teaching others goes to be used. And physicists have little to do with how they're what it gets used for, and that's me. So when I left I that particular research because of those things, and that gave me time to see an overview
We're dealing with your
of how
lag.
to kind of thesis on how the universe works.
Okay.
Sorry,
It's all right.
is
It,
my
it's the
vocal is the voice still coming through
Oh, the
clear?
voice is coming through. It's just a lag, and everybody. This is live, and shit happens. So just go with the flow.
Do you want me to do something different?
No, there's nothing different. Just keep talking.
Okay. So
Oh,
in my quest to understand the universe, I was told to have an observable, reproducible phenomenon. And what I got is the movement of the Earth with respect to movement of the Earth and how we move around the sun and how the moon moves around us.
Okay,
Physicists
hang
took
on,
all
hang on.
that.
It's your internet.
That was
It's
the
wait, wait, wait,
I
Joe. It's
realized
your
that
internet. It's your internet connection. What kind of connection do you have, hon?
it's DSL.
DSL, huh?
I don't know.
All right, I'm going to ask you something. Can you go back out and then come back in with that link? I'll bring you back in because I want to hear. I want you to come back in. Come back in. All right. He's got to come back in. This is the delightfulness of live. And I don't believe that Joe has fast enough. Joe is in the metaverse. Aw, but he's somebody that follows, and he finally he's been following for a long time, and he puts his comments up, and he has quite lengthy um uh writing, and he has something called Crystal's Law. And I'm going to bring you back in. All right, let me see here. Hopefully it works. Uh-oh, he's not there. Well, we'll get him back in. Anyway, if you've read the comments on a lot of our shows, oh, there he is. He's back. Joe has written an edict, Crystal's Law, and I mean, it's quite detailed. Are you back? Can we hear you now?
It still looks, it's pretty choppy, but I am back.
Okay. So once you
Even
get
my,
it sounds better. Finish up.
you guys are choppy to me too.
Yeah, I know. It's the connection, but finish up what you were saying and show us your face. Not a bad face, right, guys?
I'm trying to
All
show you
right.
my face.
Yeah, there you go. I like your face. All right. I like Lisa's face too. I like all your faces once I see you. Look at that. Look at both of you smiling. Okay. So
I like
finish.
your faces better than my face.
Oh, stop. Okay. Well, yeah, that's right. I probably feel the same way.
So,
Continue. I hope. Oh no.
the
Turn off your sound behind you. I love live.
this around here.
And he is testing. I mean, it is the first time he's ever done this, right, Joe?
So,
Right. Okay.
in the overall scheme, coming up with one thing leads to another. Okay. Am I still having problems?
A little bit, but if you just
I
continue
have
until
none on.
just talk, I'll tell you when to stop.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, next time maybe I'll turn off my internet and just use cell.
People want you to tell them about you. So he had been doing this, but the connection's bad, Bumble Squid. He's like, we found him in comment sections.
Okay. Uh, i- in the endeavor to explain my whole thesis, I discovered, and in discovering that about
Oh, I have a feeling I'm going to
yeah,
have to just put the link into your
I
writing.
changed my whole life over the climate. I abandoned my physics program at the University of Washington, and I started talking about things like 9/11, which a lot of the information about how the buildings fall is wrong. And I'm not making any claims to conspiracies. I'm just saying there appeared to be this huge chasm.
Okay. All right.
There, the whole academic endeavor to communicate was very broken. So I wanted to do something about climate science, and academics doesn't want anything against the grain. As you already know, you deal with plenty of people who run up against that problem.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I tried to include in the conversation with Earth and everything, the more difficult it got to talk to people. So I started perusing comment sections like yours. And I think there's the important people in this are you and those like you that are trying to bridge the gap that I'm talking about, because I clearly have discovered that I suck at that compared to others who practice community.
Yes, but you're doing all right. You're actually doing
So
all right. This
I
you'll have
am
to.
is really, I'm
Yeah.
still trying to learn that. And that's
Yeah.
why where is my place in this with what I have to offer?
Well, uh-oh. Did we lose
I have
you?
a
Wait, let me get you
lot
back. You're there.
of
Somebody else is coming in. We do have.
knowledge
Go ahead. Go ahead.
in relational physics, but people really aren't
They aren't ready.
to understand how I talk about.
You're right, because sometimes I don't understand.
So when I talk to you about it, that teaches me that, wow, I have to find a different way to do it, or I'm not going to.
Okay. Somebody said just to try to do audio with just you. Lisa, do you want to go back out and come in and see how this sounds? I have enough
Yep.
With a
power.
few
I
people.
mean, I have enough power,
Okay.
I could also, well, it's all right. I can
Okay.
also put a different picture behind me that's not taking anything, but the whole thing is, no, I don't need to. I have tons of power. All right, let's bring, oh, we have another guest. I want to finish with Joe. We have another guest, which I have to find. Now we lost two people. All right, just a second. We have Wanda, and I want to bring you in, Wanda. Okay, just a minute. I got to find your all right. And Joe, are you coming back in? Hang on a second, guys. We lost Lisa because I asked her to go, and then we lost somebody else. Uh, where's ghost number 4? Hang on a second, guys. The cameras, I got the guest number 4, but I can't find the guest number 4. Where is guest number 4? That's funny. Oh, she's back. She's in her kitchen. All right, it doesn't work. All right, Joe. Wanda, you're going to have to wait. All right, Joe. Can you hear us? Joe's frozen. That's what we're trying to do with Joe. Make him the
I can hear
guest.
everything.
All right, but I don't know about Joe. I made him bigger, but it doesn't look like it's working. And I don't think it's my internet. I've got all this. Yeah. Aw, he says I've got this. That's right. You have the faith that it's Sunday afternoon, and what else does everybody have to do? Joe, come back out and in. Okay, I'm gonna have him come back out and in, and I don't know why I cannot bring. I don't even know why I can't bring Wanda in. I'm just gonna try. No, I can't bring her in because she's behind. Hi there. You're in the wrong. You're not a. You're not an overlay. I want to make you.
Hi.
Yeah, I gotta make you an overlay, Miss Number 4. Miss Number 4.
Okay.
And I'm looking to see
Okay.
how to do that. But you're on the screen, so say hi to everybody. This is Wanda. Tell us about yourself.
I had on today was I am means there are some things that we should really be doing, but they'll never be done. Number one, it's degrowth on a getting rid of the really frivolous things in our society, along with many other remakings of our economic system. But like, for instance, there's going to be like 5,000 private jets flying to the Super Bowl. I mean, why are we still doing that? That makes no sense.
Because
See
no
what I'm
one
saying?
cares.
Like, they do
Yeah.
all these other things.
Yeah. I was going to do a thing on that.
They do
I
all these other
actually
things, but
was.
it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
Yep. It's ridiculous. You can't keep doing, it's like the little kid or the teenager that's trying to do better at school, but he keeps going out to party because then he's not going to graduate.
I hear you. We had him back. I love these lives when you invite guests. Keep going, Wand. Keep going. Keep going, doll. I know what you were talking about.
Again, it's just that as whatever they're going to try to do, it's not going to work because they're going to allow all the ridiculousness to continue.
Absolutely, it is. It is continuing. I mean, it is. All right, let me see. Is this Joe? Somebody came in. I can't keep up. Joseph is in the green room, I think. But Joseph, I gave you back to your number 3 and it's not working. This is hilarious. Want to
Practice
keep
makes perfect.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny. It's so funny because he keeps coming back and in. Well, Wanda, I want to say to you that before this, and I didn't have the time, I was going to look up the statistics about uh, the uh,
Uh-huh.
the flying and how much flying was going to happen for this. Actually, and you read my mind, and I didn't do it, but you just said it, so that was cool.
Huh?
Yeah. Thank you.
About that kind of thing since like 2012.
Yeah. You've been thinking about that since 2012. I hope Joe comes back. If not, I'm going to set up a show with him.
I knew that in some of the statistics.
Yeah, since 2012. All right. I see, he's in the green room, but I don't see his picture. I don't see your camera anymore. Joseph. Joseph. Oh, we're going to do a show with him. I'm definitely going to do a show. So tell us a little bit
He
about
might have given
you.
up.
No, he's in there. Oh, he's here. He's here. He's back. Wait, I'll give him back to number 3 and try to find where number 3 went. No, number 3's not there. Let's turn on number 3. Come on, guest number 3. I think this is hilarious. This is actually very funny that this is, I brought it to the front, right? And his camera should be number 3, and it isn't. I'm going to make him another one. Let's see if I make him number 2. Shut this off. I'm talking too much. Oh, this is really pissing me off. And we have somebody else too. Just a minute, guys. I'll get you back in. It just, I had it working really well, and then it didn't. Best laid plans. All right, guess number 1. There's Lisa's back. So the only one we have to bring in, we have Wanda. Okay, Wanda's here. The only one we have to bring back is Joe and get him correctly assigned to his rightly, let's see. He's not up. Unlock it. Up, 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 up. Bring to the front. No. All right, guys, talk. Can't just be me blabbing.
We're used to it.
Okay,
I know. I can't get his camera to come to the
It's
front.
not hard for me.
It's not hard for you to what?
Blab?
It's not hard for you to what?
Keep talking.
I
Keep
talk
I'm pretty good at
talking,
talking.
baby. Keep talking. Well, ladies, have a
There is a
conversation
lag
while I'm
though.
trying to
I can
fix this.
still hear. Okay, and I can still hear stuff I did say before.
Really? Do you have your
Hi, Lisa. It's
Do you
nice
have?
to meet you.
That's because your YouTube sound is up. That's why you're on your computer and you're playing the show, and your YouTube sound is up. That's the problem.
Oh, so that's me? You're talking
Yes.
to me?
Yes.
I can see if I can.
You have to turn off the volume. You have to get out of the stream
They-
because that's what you're hearing in the background. And now I'm looking for
Okay.
guest number 2 and 3. Wait a
I
second.
think I did it.
Okay. Now. Da da da. Let's see if I can get him to be guest number. Who's number this? Number 3. Assign. I think this is hilarious. Assign. Oh, look. Oh, we've got even more people.
I see
Now,
Joe.
let's see.
And I
It's
see
going to
another
work.
person.
I know. It's actually fun. I'm actually having a blast. Joe, don't leave.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah. Hi. Hello. Look at this. We've got.
Hey,
How are you? Let's hear you.
Hi, guys.
I want to
Nice
know.
to meet you.
Yeah, but guest in
Big-
the middle there. Where is she? Wendy. Renee, talk so we can hear you. All right, she's still muted. Unmute yourself,
I
sweetheart.
got excited
Oh,
because
you
I was
did?
listening. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
My
yes,
connection
yes,
must
yes.
be the worst.
Yay! All right.
No, I heard you,
Okay, there's a
Joe. I
time
heard you,
delay,
Joe.
but I got excited listening to this. Because I was working in research in biochemistry when I noticed it was all screwed up as far as finding the right health outcomes, you know? And
All right. She was
I'm
excited.
sorry, there's a long delay.
It is a long delay. Where
When
are
you
where are
break
you
through
from?
that, when you realize science is not scientific, it kind of puts you outside of the mainstream.
There you go. Where are you from? What are you from the United States?
Yeah, I'm from California, and I used to work at Stanford.
Wow.
Hmm?
And there's such a long delay? Well, I will write to the company because I'm supposed to have this whiz bang rural internet. So I'm a little mad that,
Yes.
this is bullshit. I should have like perfect hosting abilities. All right. So Joe, do you want to while the getting's good, do you want to get in there, and I'm going to bring you on a show with just you and me, I think, so that we can really get to the to the bottom of who you are, what your message is, and your thesis, because obviously there's a lot of people on here.
Yes.
Joe, go ahead. Can we hear you?
Tell us about physics.
Oh, I'm writing to Ecamm. Or I'm going to have to upgrade to the business class internet. You're all going to have to
Joe,
buy
tell
me a
us about
coffee.
physics. I'd talk more, but I'm afraid I'm going to interrupt him. What the guy was saying that you had on originally, I didn't catch the name. The video you had, Sandy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
When he was talking about taking CO2 out of the concentration, reducing the concentration. That's what kills me is that everybody keeps talking about emissions, but no matter how little emissions we emit, we're always adding to concentration. The concentration is always going up, and that's what most people.
Listen to his interview with Nick Breeze. It's it
I
goes,
will.
and then by then we'll be ready to have him on. But Joe, I'm getting you on next week. We're going to do this. So everybody will come back when Joe comes on, because he's been writing to me for 3 years and I'm horrible. So next week,
Wow.
and I'm going to figure it out. I won't be pulling bandwidth from anywhere else, even though this is bullshit.
And it's really good to hear from people who have similar experiences in the academic world, because I kicked myself ever since. I always have regrets for not finishing, and
Joe, do you have
How far did you have to go yet?
oh,
They want to know how to read your stuff.
I'm trying. Can you not hear anything I'm saying?
No, we heard it. We want to know where we can read your material, or do I have to publish it as a separate thing under my community tab?
What are the biggest? What about physics specifically?
Well, just what you think is necessary to
Oh
talk
no,
about
go
for
ahead.
quick,
I want to hear where in physics people want to
Well,
hear.
Oh, okay. Well, let me ask this. When they keep talking about making machines to pull out carbon out of the atmosphere, the concentration, how possible is it to make thousands and thousands of these machines and yet rip up the planet to get the resources to make those machines? You're still making CO2, and the amount of CO2 that they can suck out of the air is minuscule. You have to make thousands and thousands of them.
I think we're gonna have to do a GoFundMe to get Joe better internet. All
Where's
right,
he from?
not far. He's in the United States. Good. Going south said good point, Wanda. Good point. Good point. And yes, Bim Jim cost benefit analysis. And yes, Lord,
Okay.
Lord, you
Can I
did the
make a
math. Yes, yes, sweetheart.
recommendation?
Yeah, make a recommendation. I'm gonna play music. I'm gonna play some music till we get somebody that we can hear.
I think you can hear me, but I don't have anything to say.
Oh, Lisa, you're terrible. Wanda does. She does.
Okay.
But we wanted to hear from Joe. We were
Grab on.
trying to get Joe and more of
I
a
didn't even
face.
I didn't even graduate from college. I'm an
Well,
artist. I didn't even
why
get a
don't I just
degree.
wait then until then? Because maybe maybe
Yeah.
get people who want to ask questions, Sandy, and have a
Okay.
list of questions
I think that would be good.
that we can talk
Like,
about as topic.
okay. I was trying to get, yeah, Wendy came back. Wendy Renee. Yeah, I think we'll
And
do
the
that.
CO2 sequestration stuff.
We could talk about that too.
How
All right, so Joe's going to be a guest. Joe's going to come back, and that's good. So we'll do that. We'll schedule Joe to come on with me next week. And let me see if I can bring back Renee. I don't know what the hell. I tell you what, you're right. The best intentions. I try to do this shit, and all these other live streamers can make it flawless, and then it's my turn, and it's like a clusterfuck. But hey, we tried, right? We tried. So what are you saying? You should have come on Going South. We haven't seen your face in a long time. The wolf hunt episode. Okay, Spotify. Can you see the video on Spotify? That's got to be horrible to watch. I don't know. They're not eating the wolf. That's disgusting. But it's all, I can't comment because I need to read more about why they're doing it. Anyone know anything about stratospheric heating? We'll bring
No.
Nicholas and Jim back on. I want to do a state of the planet, guys. So, yeah. Wow, we're 15 already. Look at the tree and the silhouette.
I did want to ask, has anyone heard about the pipeline that's going across? I think it's the middle of the country, some of the states, and I forget which ones. They're making a pipeline to pipe CO2 through the pipeline so that they can sequester it underground, and it's massive. It's like, I forget, like a couple 100 miles or more long. That's like a really ridiculous idea if you ask me.
Yeah, well, now there's a controversy going on about the pipelines and the bomb trains, because once again, when
Yeah.
one of these bomb trains, Wendy, I can't bring you in for some reason. I don't understand why. I'm trying to bring Wendy back in. I I add, and then it's like it doesn't show up. Let me see. Wendy, get guest number 3. There she is. All I did was not click something right. All right. So anyway, the pipelines, Wanda. Now there's again the conversation about, well, why don't we put them underground? So it's either we have bomb trains, we have bomb trucks, or we have pipelines. Right, Wanda? I mean, who's giving up?
Yeah.
Who's giving up
And
lifestyle?
it's not just oil pipelines. They're making a CO2 pipeline. You know, that's like, they just keep, it's like this rotating evil they keep doing, more tech, and it's just ripping up and running across. People are going to fight that tooth and nail. They already are. Whatever that article was, I got to look it up.
All right.
Yeah.
Send me the link. Whose bird is that in the background?
I got to find it again.
Somebody got a bird in the background? I hear it. I heard it. Oh, I thought I did. Well, it's so good to have you guys. It is. But it's been well, let's see who's coming back. Oh, Joe's trying to come back one more time. Let me open. This time I know now to open the camera up and bring him back in. So here he is. Let's see. Is he fitting back in? Okay, let's bring him to the front. Nope, it ain't working. Sorry, Joe, you're not working. Oh, well, we'll see your face next week. I'm going to end the show soon. I just appreciate you guys. I think what I'll do is probably make these into a couple of videos, but it was nice to have you all with me this afternoon and to try, this out. And I might write to the company Ecamm and see if I have to upgrade my service to be faster or something. And I thought I had good service. So,
Okay.
Oh, now I lost everybody. I can't believe it. Now where's everybody? Did I really lose everybody? Oh, I see. Now I have like multiples. That's funny as hell. Oh my gosh. All right, guys. Well, because I can't seem to have figured out why my whole screen just took a shit, I'm saying goodnight. It just did. Multiples.
I'm seeing double.
Yeah, we're seeing double. No, everything left. I have it's an overlay, and when you press the overlay and the background comes on and the whole thing, it just went away. So I'll be working on that. All right, guys, good night. Thank you all for coming. Yes, it looks kind of, we have two Wandas, so I'll turn that one off. Lisa, thank you. Hey, yeah, it was worth a try. Lisa said maybe it's the Super Bowl. Aha. Maybe it's the Super Bowl. Yeah, you're right. It could be. If 7 billion people would please go to Mars, then the rest of it could maybe make it a go here. That's good. I like that. All right. Yeah, we love you too. All right, sweethearts. I love you. I gotta get up. Thanks, Wanda. I love you too, I know Wanda. We know each other in the flesh. We've hugged. Aren't you jealous? We've hugged. Yeah. She doesn't even live far from me. So it's part of the community we have here. All right, Wanda, I'm getting rid of me, you, everybody. Putting on the ending. All right. I'm fixing up the whole goddamn thing and trying to figure out how to shut it all off. All right. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night. Oh, wait. I have to stop with this. I'll get you more information on Joe.